today's makeup masterclass is all about creating shape and illusion using a mixture of light and shading techniques to really kind of make this really cool 3D effect. So today I've gone with quite an organic shape. I'm following the natural contours of Francois's face, taking inspiration from Aiko Ishioka, who designed some of the most amazing costumes in Dracula and those muscle suits in The Cell I referenced in one of my videos that talked about my top films for makeup. So the first step is to remove some of Francois's eyebrows. So I've given you a tutorial on how to bleach them, but if you're a little bit afraid of bleaching your eyebrows or you want a temporary solution, I'm just going to lighten them a little bit. So I'm going to begin by taking a pencil, and now this is just a kind of an eye pencil in a couple of shades lighter than Francois's skin tone, and I'm going to work into the roots of Francois's eyebrows. Because the trickiest thing when you're blocking out your eyebrows is actually getting the product all the way down to the roots. It's very easy to kind of cover the hairs, but the roots are kind of the giveaway. If it has a little bit of a pinky undertone, that's great, because that would also help to eliminate some of the grey in the eyebrow. And when you've kind of covered it really well, you can just brush that through with a spoolie, just to distribute it a little bit more. So now I'm going to take a concealer and I'm going to work on top of that with the concealer. So I'm just going to work with these two. So we've got a really pale one and we've got a slightly darker one, and I'm going to mix the two together to try and find the shade that I want. And then I'm going to just backcomb through the eyebrow. Now I can see we could probably go even lighter than that. So I'm going to get rid of the darker shade now, and I'm going to just put a little bit more of this lighter shade through the brow. And just backcombing like that. And I'm actually using these MAC Studio Fix 24-hour concealers because they're really great, and they're really sort of quite thick, which is what you want. You want something to totally cover the brow, and also using the pencil at the beginning, which has a very sort of waxy texture, will help to kind of squash and conceal all of the hairs. So once you've done that, you can leave it to dry for a second or two, and then you can go over with some banana powder or some pressed powder that has a bit of pigment into it, just to kind of get rid of the colour even more. So I'm going to take this, you can see it's a light to medium powder, and I'm just going to pat it on there, and that will kind of help seal and lock in the colour. So there we go, you can see that it's actually done quite a lot to Francois's eyebrow in terms of removing the colour. So I'm going to do the same on the other side. So now I'm going to be working to create that optical illusion, and I'm going to be working with this white pencil. You can also use a white face paint if you want to, if you feel like you have better control over your brushwork. And I'm going to begin by creating shapes on Francois's face with the pencil. So I'm going to begin by working into Francois's eyeline like this, and just covering the waterline and the lower lashes. And then I'm gonna take my pencil from the inner corner of Francois's eyebrow, and I'm gonna just curve it down towards his nose like this. Just mark it out. So we have that nice line going down to his nose. And then I'm gonna take that line and I'm gonna take it up almost like a kind of a winged liner, and I'm gonna curve it round here and bring it all the way around to the center of his face and up like that. And now I'm going to begin by building from that shape all of the other lines on the face. So I'm going to take couple of, about a centimetre underneath that, another line, and I'm just gonna follow the pattern that I've begun to create. So bringing it up and around, and now I'm gonna bring it down around the side of Francois's nose and bring it down to his mouth like this. Just follow these two lines, and maybe I'll bring it out and around here. And then I'm going to finish with one more line that's going to go all the way up the center of the nose and into the eye socket. So next I'm going to be working in with a darker pencil to create the shadows I'll then blend out, which will help to create the optical illusion, and all of these white lines will end up looking like a kind of a high point on the face. So I've got a deeper pencil here, and I'm going to be working on the underside. So if you imagine you're shining a light down onto Francois's face, all the shadows will kind of come underneath. So I'm going to pop some darker color in here like this on all of these points that would probably somehow be in a bit of shadow around here. And then when you get to the kind of the turn in the white pencil, where it sort of starts to turn upwards, you can then begin working on the underside of these lines. So I'll stop it about there, and I'll begin to build that pencil in underneath the white on the top. And just in that socket there. And now I'm going to take this really lovely iridescent sort of pinky colour, and I'm going to start to shade like this along all of those lines. And I'm using this pink tone because it's really nice. It's got a little bit of a kind of metallic-y reflection to it, so it's just adds a really beautiful kind of contrast to that white. And I'm using a flat tip brush. I'm actually using a lip brush for this because you've got that nice sort of flat edge that you can paint all the way up to the white and keep that line quite sharp. And so again, it's just really important when you reach that turn that you almost stop and start again on the underside of the line. So while you've been doing that, you've probably gone over the white a little bit and sort of darkened it using that colour. So you can just take your white pencil and just kind of go over it a little bit, any little areas that just need a bit of sharpening up or making a little bit brighter. So the last step is to take another colour which is somewhere in between your model's skin colour and a kind of a really shimmery colour. So I'm going to go with this one. It's kind of a pinky, nice shimmery pink colour, and I'm just going to take that and blend it a little bit into that dark pink just to make it even more seamless and create even more of that kind of 3D effect. And you just want to just put a little bit in, and it will just help to kind of enhance your work. So now that I've finished the other side of the face, you can see how creating that kind of perfect symmetry really accentuates the design and kind of gives you that very cool 3D effect that we were trying to achieve by using these light and these dark areas. And you can really do any shape you want. And I've just kind of followed the natural lines of Francois's face, but you could also do some really interesting angles if you want. I just think you should go away and play with as many different shapes that you can. You can keep around the eye focused, you could do something around the mouth, always using this technique to achieve this kind of optical illusion. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and I'll see you all again next week.